What's up, y'all? What up? What up? What up? About 3 minutes. I will see y'all soon.
You good, Terry?
No, what is hold on, y'all. Technical difficulties. Hold up. No. All right, we should be good to go now. I don't know what is going on, but let me make a few adjustments real quick. My apologies, y'all. Hold up. Hold up. All right, I need to know if everything is good, yo. Of course, we had all of this set up beforehand, and of course now everything is tripping. So before we even get started, like, I gotta make sure we are good. All right. So if you are in the chat, make sure you let me know if this feed is live. Are we good? I need to know right now. We had some technical difficulties. As y'all see, I was flipping around the scenes, man. I don't know what happened. All of this stuff was pre-tested. You know what I'm saying? We've been testing it for the last hour. So I need everybody to let me know if the audio is cool, is the video feed cool. It's already like 40 people enjoying it, so I need everybody to say what's up. Let me know in the chat if everything is a-okay. I'm a little rusty with the live stream, you know what I'm saying? All right, I got a few videos good. Audio is good. Looks and sounds good. All right. Well, I guess that's good news for all of us. Let me turn this mic down just a tad. Okay. All right, we good to go, man. So, what's up, y'all? Welcome to Saturday Night with TerryWarfield, man. A lot of y'all saw the thumbnail. I got to fix the little hair or whatever, you know what I'm saying? All right. Y'all saw the thumbnail. Tonight, we gonna bring my man Gerald Undone in here. Class 3 in the building. I got my mods on deck already. CJ Knows Tech. C-Kid Tech, what's up, y'all? So I want to take a few minutes real quick just for everybody to get acquainted. Say hello. It's been a while. Let me know how y'all been. Man, I've been busy. I've been grinding, trying to make moves, trying to, you know, kiss all the babies, give all the hugs, do all the right stuff. And here we are. So Saturday night, y'all could have been anywhere else, but y'all chose to rock with TerryWarfield. So let's go to the chat real quick. Let's get a little roll call action going. I see a few questions already. I am using a Wave 3 right now. I hope the audio is okay. Let me turn it down just a little bit because I do see it's clipping just a tad. And we should be cool. So like I said, let's go ahead and get the roll call started, man. Thank y'all all for tuning in, hanging out with TerryWarfield. We'll get Gerald Undone in here in a minute. I think he's in the back, like, making Pop-Tarts. I think the last thing he said to me was he needed to get some Pop-Tarts or something like that. So, in the meantime, let's get to the chat and hit these comments up, man. I wanted to have the comments on the screen, but I'm just going to be honest. The little widget was malfunctioning, and ain't nobody got time for that. So let's go in here, man. Start from the top. Just say what's up to everybody. Viper in the building. What's up, man? Orlando Theme Park. You broke the music. It was your fault. What up? Mark Coleman. What up? Guy with the camera. What up? Paul Halliday. What up? What are you guys going to be talking about tonight? Pop-Tarts, cameras, and answering all of y'all questions. I know a lot of y'all probably got questions for Gerald, but don't be leaving me out, man. Okay? Don't be, just because Gerald here, don't be acting funny on this stream, because y'all normally here to rock with me. I'm just bringing in a special guest tonight. Ed Nunez, what up? C-Kid said, hurry up and start the show. That is the fire detector going off in the background. My apologies. I need to change that battery. Ed Nunez, Gerald is appearing on a lot of live streams lately. That is true. Apparently, Gerald is like 7 of them, right? So anytime you see him on the stream, it could be for... He could be anywhere, right? Let's keep going. Let's keep going. So many comments. iOS Gino, both are good. Thank you. My Castle Life, proud of you. Hey, I'm proud of you. Mr. Freetime, what up, baby? Kenny Williams, what up? Genosis, what's up, man? Guy with a camera says we are good. Panzer Trek DS, no split screen, just you. That is intended. Tech Gear Talk, yep, we already said we're using a Wave 3. Don Coven, what up, big baby? Icon RCs, what up? C-Kid said, fix the comb over. Yo, I got a funny joke for y'all. My homeboy said, you look like a barbecue auntie with that hairstyle. And I couldn't even hate because it was mad funny. But let's keep it going. Viper said, let's go. Let's go. Easy Computer Solutions, what up? Icon RCs, iOS Gino. CJ, what's up, man? It's a beautiful, Michael Varth said, it's a beautiful evening in Ohio. Good to see you. It's absolutely beautiful. Blame Viper for everything. Absolutely. CJ said, it's fine. Thank you. Genosis, I haven't had Pop-Tarts in decades. I had Pop-Tarts like 2 days ago. I'm not going to lie to you. Let's keep going. All right. CJ said, don't be nervous. What are you talking about? Gerald Undone, why is this guy so obsessed with Pop-Tarts? I'm gonna spill all of your secrets tonight, Gerald. You just wait. Orlando Theme Park with the super chat already. $5 to fix that smoke detector. Thank you. I swear on everything. I just replaced that battery. I don't know what's going on. It's them dollar store batteries. All right, man, let's keep going. Let's keep going. Greg LG, what up? Genosis, guy with a camera. CJ, new layer, what up, man? Thanks for coming through. C-Kid, change the smoke detector batteries. Hey, man, shut up. We already talked about this. Terrell Torrance, what's good? If I mispronounce this, my guy, I'm sorry. Adved, this is my young guy. What's up? Steve Nickel, it's time. It is about that time. Kenny Williams, what's up? Tech for your needs, what's up? QC Dads, what up? New Lair, what's up? Sharath Chandra, what's up? Man, the squad is out early, right? The squad is here early. A few household items before we get started. I need everybody in this chat right now, if you have not done it, to hit the like button. There's 50 plus of y'all in here. I better see 50 likes on there. I better see 50 likes. So somebody in the chat, probably CJ knows Tech, I gotta smack him. So if y'all don't want me to smack CJ, you better smash that like button. Second of all, take a second, hit the share URL button, go to Twitter, Facebook, wherever it is, share the stream out. We need as many people in here tonight as possible. The next thing, every stream I get these comments, right? Hey, Terry, how do you get that look on the video? So let's go through the setup first, and then we'll get Gerald in here because he is patiently waiting backstage. And I know he is eager to get in here and show his lovely face, right? So in the description, you will find everything being used for this live stream as far as the light, the audio, the camera setup I'm using, which is the A7S III plus 24mm G Master. The light is a Godox SL60, and that bad boy is gridded right at quarter angle. I'm using an Elgato Wave 3, and the look, that cinematic sauce you see right there, oh, that's just my custom LUT. You know what I'm saying? That's just Terry's custom LUTs, which you can grab those, a whole 8-pack of film LUTs in the description if you want to support the channel. Super chats are not required. However, if you do like to donate to the cause, the super chats are available. Y'all know I take a lot of money from super chats. I give it back out. I donate to people. I try to do dope stuff for other people. So any donations, I'm not saying I'm not going to buy me no coffee with y'all donations, but I try to give back to the community. So now that we got the household stuff out the way, I need everybody in the chat to comment right now. Where is Gerald? When I get 10 comments, I'm not talking to you, iPad. When I get 10 comments that says, where is Gerald? I will bring him in here, starting now. Where's Gerald? I need 10 comments. Where's Gerald at? Y'all better, he ain't coming on until 10 people comment. I'm telling y'all, he gonna be stuck in the back, eating Pop-Tarts until 10 people say, where is Gerald? Okay? The waiting game starts now. I got all night. I got all night. What up, what up, what up, what up? Digital Slang Top Geek, what up? All right, y'all, I'm going to stop trolling. We're going to bring Gerald in. So, Gerald, oh, here go all the Where's Gerald comments. Oh, that's coming in quick. Okay, so anyways, Gerald, I hope you're ready. It is time, baby. It is time to bring the man himself, Gerald Undone, into the chat. Gerald is a good friend of mine, and I'm going to let him tell you how we became acquainted, and then we will take it from there. So without further ado, let's bring the man himself, Mr. Gerald Undone, to the stream. Let's go. All right, we got to switch the music up, too. Yeah, Gerald is here. We got a different scene now. Hey, Gerald.
How's it going?
What's up, man?
I'm listening to your music.
You like that music? Hey, man, I always like the purple hue you have in the background.
Thank you.
You look amazing, man. What's up, man?
Appreciate you.
Hope everything is going. Oh, let me take this off the screen. Hold on one second. Wait a minute.
Off the screen.
There's a chat box I forgot to take off.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That's my bad. All right, that's out of here. Okay. So, anyways, Gerald Undone, thank you for joining the stream. Thank you for also volunteering to come on the stream. It's been a while. I know a lot of people have been asking like, yo, Terry, you know, you're kind of geek when it comes to cameras, etc. When you and Gerald gonna link up? So I'm glad to finally have you on the stream, man. So why don't you introduce yourself for people who might not know you, which is, I highly doubt that's possible, but why don't you introduce yourself and then go ahead and we'll get this started.
Hey, yeah, I'm Gerald Undone, my YouTube channel. I guess that's what I'm known for. I guess is making like nerdy camera gear reviews and stuff. I don't know, have fun with it. But I guess lately, with some of these releases, I've been relegated as like the guy who does all the technical breakdowns for the camera, so that people can just throw to my video and then go have fun with the camera, you know?
Yeah. That is what we all do. When we don't want to do the nerdy stuff, we just tag Gerald.
Thanks for having me on, man.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you coming on. So tonight, what we're gonna do, y'all, obviously we're gonna, I really want people to know like how we became acquainted, because I think it's a weird kind of partnership, right? Maybe partnership is the bad word. We're two polar opposites, right? So I'm gonna kind of explain how I got to know Gerald Undone. So I'll just start that now. I started watching Gerald Undone probably about 2 years ago. Before Gerald hit this meteoric rise to the top of YouTube, I was always watching videos, man, and I was always intrigued how much you knew about cameras, yo. Like it was nuts, because it was almost like you knew more about the cameras than the freaking manufacturers did, right? Which is wild. I'm like, all the time, like every video I watch, I could just sit here and I've learned so much from you, because I watch every one of your videos. So when people ask me like, Terry, how did you get so smart with cameras? I just tell like, shit, I just really ripped off Gerald for real. So, and then, you know, just through Twitter and whatever, we happened to become acquainted with one another. And eventually we started talking about stupid stuff like cookies and dieting and stuff like that, and then here we are. So that's how I got acquainted with Gerald. If you want to give your side how you found TerryWarfield, I would love to hear it.
Yeah, I think it was probably on Twitter. Or actually, I'm not sure which came first, but you were popping up on Twitter a lot, either replying to or, you know, retweeting stuff or being involved in conversations with some people that I am mutually involved with. But then I also saw you on Vipe's live stream, I think not long before. Well, I think you did one way before that, but you did another one not long before I joined on his live stream as well. So there was just kind of like a week or two period where it just seemed like I was getting TerryWarfield shoved in all my places I was going, you know? So I was like, all right, well, let's see what the hell this guy's all about. And then I watched some of your videos, and we chat a little bit on Twitter, and I was like, yeah, seems like an okay guy.
Same, just okay, yo.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad to finally be acquainted with you, and it's just weird to me, and I want to use this as a bit of motivation for some of the people watching, man. I went from watching Gerald, right, when I first got started on YouTube. Now I'm like close to 13K, which is small in a drop in the bucket. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, right? But I went from watching Gerald basically all the time to now being friends with Gerald, and now Gerald is on the live stream. You know what I'm saying? So I want to use this as just a bit of motivation that it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what size your audience is. It's all about the people you know and the connections you make. And I want to stress that again, yo. It's all about the people you know and the connections you make. It's a lot of creators watching this joint right now who, you know, they feel like, yo, I don't got enough subscribers. I don't got this. I don't have that. But I can tell you, man, I've been in a lot of places where people will think that you needed a ton of subscribers to get into. So don't let your subscriber number, just because you're getting started in something, deter you to think that you don't have opportunities, yo, because the opportunities are there as long as you want them bad enough. So anyways, I'm glad to have you, Gerald.
Look at you, Terry. You even got iJustine in your chat here. Look at you go.
Oh, is she? You know what? She's been running from me since Viper stream. Because Viper told me that she was getting into working out, right? And in the chat, she told me she could take me. She told me she could take me. And you know how much I work out, I box and all that stuff. And she told me she could take me. And since then, she's been running. So I just think I'm going to find you and we're going to set this up. And by the way,
You've been keeping up on your cardio, though?
No, I haven't. And that's where she might get me at.
That's how she's going to get you.
Yeah.
She's going to outlast you.
Yeah. But big shout out to I Just Think because you were the first A7S III video that I watched. And then Gerald, and matter of fact, I think I put a post out there, Gerald, where I tagged you like these are my favorite A7 III videos. I'm sorry, A7S III videos. So
you didn't watch mine first? You watched Justine's first?
I mean, she cute, man. What you want me to do? I mean, you cute too, bro. But like, come on, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I obviously, you know, yours, I Justine, and who was the third that I watched? I think it was Philip Bloom.
I think his was a little bit late. He had
His
a
was
few
late.
days later.
His was late. So I might
like
be lying.
hour quarter long video.
Yeah, that video was dope though.
It was great.
But I'm trying to think who else was it. But anyways, this is a great topic to start upon, to start our nerd talk, right? Because let's be real, that's what everybody's here for. They want to pick your brain, and then, you know, because here's the thing, Gerald. When I'm on a stream by myself, I'm the nerd. I'm the nerd. But
right.
when you come on here, I'm the little nerd now. The big nerd is here. You got all the information. But yeah, so before we move on to the camera talk, I want to take a few seconds just to thank everybody for coming through. I see a few super chats in the building. The comments are rolling in real fast, so I'm sorry if I can't keep up. Thank you for everybody who's contributed to this stream. The super chats are not required, but I definitely appreciate them. The proceeds, excuse me, definitely go towards the channel, go towards giving back to other people, and the occasional coffee for myself. And like I said, thank you for everybody for coming through. If you are interested in the whole vibe, the look, the sound, everything is in the description. So y'all ain't got to keep asking questions in the chat, right? So anyways, let's talk about the A7S III saga. Because I think you ordered 3 of them, right? 7.
You got it, yeah.
7 of them.
7? No, I ordered 3.
Yeah. You're the reason why mine hasn't got here yet. Have you received your A7S IIIs yet?
No, but I think it's like slower for me. I'm thinking Monday, as long as it's not one of those things where they tell you they're going to deliver and then they say you weren't there, but you were there. You know what I mean? So hopefully Monday is the delivery day.
So I unfortunately, like now some of y'all know, like I've been religiously talking about this camera every single day since I was able to order it, right? Every single day I've been hoping, praying, wishing that there was some sliver of hope that my order would get fulfilled before the 24th. So every morning I woke up checking BH's website, seeing if the money was withdrawn from my account. And unfortunately it wasn't. So launch day comes and I'm sitting there smashing the refresh button and I'm seeing all of these people orders going out. And of course my order did not go out yet. So there was a mix up between the team I go through to order without getting too technical. And mine likely won't be here until the end of next week. Now, Sony was dope enough to say, hey, Terry, we'll send you one and then you can use that one in the meantime. But I have not received my A7S III as of yet, which is unfortunate. And I won't have my own until the end of next week. Take Your Talk said, take a deep breath because he knows the struggle I've been going through. But I did want to ask you, like, what made you, first of all, if y'all haven't watched Gerald's video on the A7S III, it's ridiculous, straight ridiculous. But I did want to ask you, for people who may not have watched that video, out of all of the other cameras out there that we got right now, what made you pick the A7S III?
Well, it solved, I'm happy with my setup right now, in terms of I've been using it, it's good, like everything's fine. But there's some conveniences that are, I guess, missing. So that I set kind of like a threshold, I guess, for price to then achieve those conveniences. Because when I reviewed the C500 Mark II, the C300 Mark III, even the FX9, they all could have solved this problem. But there's something about me spending like 11 to 15, 16K US on...
It's a lot of money, kid.
On solving those problems. When, like, if you got something that works... to go from, because the Pocket 4K costs what, like $1,300?
It's 13.
So Yeah, so to go from 13 to 13,000 or whatever, it's like it would be more convenient. That's too much, right? So I just never committed. And every other camera that was an option was always, there was some compromises. So either you could get the conveniences, but you couldn't match the Pocket 4K's image quality, or you know, like, okay, the colors were fine, but not the dynamic range. There's just always something trading off. So the A7S III, I think, was the first camera that came out that it's still expensive for sure. I'm not gonna tell people their budget, but it's definitely not 15 or $11,000.
Right.
In fact, I could buy like several of them for that price, right?
Right.
So.
Right.
That's what it came down to, was that I get the autofocus if I want to use it, because right now obviously you manually focus on the Pocket 4K. I get the portability factor of it. I can use it to take like thumbnail photos if I want, because it does have photo features, you know. So just it was everything I needed really, and it was the first one to do it. There's some cameras that are looking like they might do that as well for cheaper, but the A7S III came out first, so I was like, solved. Here we go. You know, you win.
So I think for me, like what made me pull the trigger, because I'm an A7 III like fanatic, yo. I love the A7 III, but I think what made me pull the trigger is I do realize the A7 III's limitations when it comes to like obviously color depth, stuff like that. Like you can only push 8-bit 420 footage so far.
Sure. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Before it falls apart and you get degradation in the sky, etc. So I'm a cheapskate. Like everybody who knows me knows I do not like spending money, and I did not want to buy another camera. So I just kind of dealt with it. But then it was like, if we finally have a camera that fixes all of the things about the A7 III that I did not like, right? Which were things like the lack of a flip out screen.
Yep.
The lack of a user-friendly menu. I can't touch the screen. I can't manipulate it. I'm fine with the photo capabilities. The 24 megapixel, that sensor is amazing, yo. But there's a few things about the A7 III that just really pained me. Like, for example, every time I went to go to photography, because I'm a huge photography nut too, I would set my settings and then switch to video, and then I have to reset everything again. And then if I go back to photography, it doesn't keep my last settings. So like that's huge to me, that punk little HDMI port the A7 III has. I hate it. Like, so it's like when the A7S III got announced, I'm like, wow, I get 422 internal without needing an external recorder, 10-bit color depth. I get the fastest autofocus out there. Finally, a flip out screen, so I didn't have to jimmy rig it with that little thing, that little mirror that I used to that I put on my A7 III. It fixes all of that stuff. So finally, I was like, yo, even though this camera cost the bag, for me at least, I think it will fix all of everything that I want for at least the next 3 to 4 years to come, which is why for me, it was a good investment. Now, it still hurt when I ordered it. It still hurt very badly. But I think it'll be a smart investment for me. And I'm still keeping my A7 III because a lot of people have been talking junk about this 12 megapixel stuff. So I want to get your thoughts on that too real quick. But me personally, I'm not a big hater against 12 megapixels, yo. Because if you think about it, like, what did we do before we had higher megapixel cameras? So you mean to tell me wedding photographers weren't getting busy with 10 megapixels, you know what I'm saying, or 12 megapixels? I think the Nikon D700 or something like that was 12 megapixels. And then even your top of the line cinema cameras, the one that costs $80,000, $90,000, are 8-9 megapixels. So I actually made a whole video on this about the 12 megapixel thing. It's not a big deal for me. You know, if I go on a photo shoot and I have somebody that says, hey, I need higher megapixel files, I guess I still have a camera that's got it covered. But let's be real. Let's be real, dog. Most people take pictures for social media, and that's it. Yeah. Most people take pictures for social. So 12 megapixels is more than enough. The only thing you really lose out on is the ability to crop in this way or crop in that way because you don't have the resolution there. But I would like your opinion about it.
Yeah, I can say a few things. One, personally, I don't crop much at all. I've done that in the past where it's like, well, I've got the megapixels, like I can crop however I want.
Right.
Or even when you use a video camera with a higher resolution, you plan to go to 4K and you talk about, and I'm not talking about like sampling it down, but just like, well, then I have the ability to reframe and post. I don't know about everybody else, but I just tend to try and like get my framing pretty close
Right.
when I shoot, you know? I mean, that's better practice anyway.
Right.
So there are some conveniences, but I don't think that it's a limitation. At the same time, I don't want to seem like an apologizer, although I don't think that there's anything to apologize for, because I think the A7S III is a video camera with some conveniences for photo, meaning
Right.
that you can do the job with one camera. I do think that if you're into shooting specific things, that you need more megapixels for sure. However, talking about old cameras, I can comment that in 2013, 14, 15, and that era, we were using the 5D Mark III for hockey photography. And because we distributed so many images, we didn't send out full res or even raw, or like, well, generally you don't give your raws away, but like we weren't doing raw, we weren't doing like full res images. We were trying to find a ratio that would make the images easy to move like large amounts on the web and everything quickly. And so I came up with like a compression thing that I found had like minimal lostness in terms of resolution and compression, and I never thought more about it. But then now that I was sort of like forced to look at this 12 megapixel thing and look at, well, what actually is the photo resolution of 12 megapixels? It's higher than the like 200 and maybe 300,000 hockey photos that we distributed for like a 4 or 5 year period. And there was never once a complaint about resolution. And people use those to print like, you know, wall size prints and stuff like that. So I'm not saying that high megapixels doesn't have a purpose, or that if you're planning on doing a particular type of print, but like you said yourself, there's been plenty of excellent prints done with lower megapixels. However, I think we should always try and push forward for things that are more beneficial in the future. But I just have anecdotal experience that says that 12 megapixels can get the job done. For me, I'm just happy about it because I've been doing a lot of my thumbnails with 4K image grabs,
Right.
and then editing them. So 12 megapixels is higher than that. So I actually would just get a slightly better resolution thumbnail. And I had one more thought on that too, which is that I think that people talk about the cropping thing or talk about the resolution thing maybe in the wrong way, more of a spec. But if you want to know an example of one where it's the real deal, and I think that that's how we know who should be complaining and not complaining, is I think of people like bird photographers, that they use long lenses, but generally if you've ever tried to shoot birds before or any kind of smaller wildlife, even when you reach really far with a long lens, you're still not far enough.
Right.
And so they'll use higher resolution cameras to make the shot usable so that it doesn't look like a small bird in the frame, but rather you fill it up. And so you give somebody like that a 4, 6, 800 millimeter lens and an A7R IV or the Canon R5 or something, and then now they can actually produce better work. But that's what the question should really be. Is it going to produce better work? Otherwise, what are we talking about? We're just looking at a number and yelling at it.
Exactly.
That's what we're doing, you know?
Now, I did have another question for you, just to jump off of the 12 megapixel thing. It's a lot of good points in here, like the smaller file sizes are definitely a plus. Hold on, let me back up. I'm so sick of this megapixel where I don't know what to do. Like every time I see somebody that says like, yo, this is not enough megapixels, I want to smack them. Because it's not all about the megapixels, right? There's other things that come into play, such as dynamic range is huge, right? Like, for example, there are phone cameras. Did your audio just go out or something?
No, I was interacting with, I read the chat, somebody said they could see my mic, and I was like, You can see my mic? And I was like, yeah, I guess you can, there's like a little nipple of it.
Oh yeah, you can
there.
see it. Yeah, it's like a little, yeah, I see it.
Now nobody will be able to unsee it. Anyway,
Right.
sorry to
now
derail
I'm
you
stuck,
there,
and now I'm gonna keep looking at it the whole night, yo. But yeah, so like, there's other things that make a good photo besides megapixels, and I'm not throwing any manufacturer under the bus, yo. But there's a lot of higher megapixel sensors, such as like cell phone sensors, for example, that are 100 freaking megapixels and higher that do not take good photos. So there's other things that are more important, like dynamic range, low light sensitivity, and what I'm looking forward to most about the A7S III is the dynamic range, because it's even more than the A7 III, even though it's less megapixels. But the low light capability, like a lot of people aren't thinking about this, because you can literally take that camera out, and even though the A7S III is being more so marketed as a video camera first, Sarah, Renee, like everybody in the chat, like, what's up, y'all? But have you ever thought about how dope it'll be to be able to go out and take pictures at night and see things that you literally probably can't even see with your own eyes because of the low light sensitivity? That's what I'm looking for the most. I guess what I'm saying is, like, specs matter, but application means more than anything, yo. And to that point, you don't have to go get the latest and greatest. I mean, it's dope to be able to afford one, but don't think that because you don't have an A7S III or whatever the latest cameras that you can't go create something amazing, because you absolutely can. But I want to ask you a question, Gerald, and I think this question will, a lot of people want to know this, my guy. How did you get so freaking smart when it comes to freaking cameras? Tell us now. We need the sauce.
I'm passionate about it. I think that's, for me at least, even with things other than cameras, like throughout my life, I guess the difference that comes in sort of teaching yourself things like, you know, what you're interested in. If you go to school and maybe there's subjects you don't care about, versus if there's something that you're really passionate about, being able to, I guess, pursue what you're passionate about, I find has a much higher ceiling for, I don't know, how impressive the amount of stuff you can store is or whatever in this case. But personally, I'm really interested in technology, and I managed to apply it to cameras. I guess it was actually like to play off that same story around that period when the 5D Mark III came out. That was the first time I'd kind of gotten back into cameras in a long time, and looked at it and thought, oh, these are really cool these days. And I just kind of like, you know, one thing led to another. It's like that rabbit hole. Right. This is obviously like 7-8 years ago now, but I'm sure everybody can relate in some regard. I find that, but maybe, you know what though, it could be, it depends on your personality type, because I found I'm the type of person that if I just look something up about like a show, and it'll be one stat of like, and then John, you know, stopped showing up to work, and then I'd be like, well, why did he stop showing? And then I'll like follow that, and then it turns out he was on a different show, and then there was some story to that. Next thing you know, I'm like 40, and I just like go in this rabbit hole. Yeah, and that's like one use case. So when you open up to the world of cameras, there's thousands of those little things you can go into, and I find that I guess it entertains me to really dig around and root in there.
So it like turns you on almost.
Yeah,
that's what you're saying.
I get like zoned in to where, you know, I probably look like a crazy person if there was a fly on the wall when I'm doing this, but I'll have like the whiteboard out and like a bunch of stuff up on my screen, and there'll be something I just can't quite grasp. And so then it becomes like my mission for a week to just be able to like fully understand this thing. And then in doing that, you find out some cool little things that you're like, hey, nobody's talking about these things. They're really interesting. And so I make videos about them basically. Like the first time that I, you know, really sort of dug into the entrance pupil. This was years ago. I was like, I gotta make a video. So like, you know, when you look at your lens, but you look at it, so not from behind it, but you flip it around, you look down your lens.
Okay.
If you look down at the aperture always looks so big, but from the front, it just looks like this giant piece of, right? So,
I'm learning something, y'all, so relax. I need this explanation.
What always kind of hurt, so that's called the entrance pupil, by the way. That it's like, essentially, it's the illusion that's created of the aperture of your lens, but when seen through all the glass, because the glass kind of like distorts it and makes it bigger. Right. But there was this idea of light getting in, and based on that, and the thing that was hurting my brain is like, well, if the aperture remains a constant size, then how is it that changing a variable in the lens would allow more or less light to come in? And then that's what led me down this, because I couldn't, my brain just wouldn't handle it. It's like, if the thing is the same size, it doesn't make any sense. How would diffraction change? Like nothing made any sense, right? And then it was this whole idea of like the entrance pupil is this like illusory idea that when you look down the lens, it's magnified, and you can measure it somewhat. Like if you kind of like held like a ruler up to the front of your lens, you could measure the diameter of this entrance pupil. And then eventually it all starts to click where you realize that the f number, when your lens is f4, let's say, that's actually a ratio or a formula that is based on the focal length. So if your lens is 100 millimeters and you have it set to f4, it's 100 divided by 4. That's why it's always f /4. That slash is actually a divide sign. It's like a fraction. So it's your focal length over your f number. 100/4 would be 25 millimeters, and that 25 millimeters, 2.5 centimeters, just over an inch, is what you would see if you looked down the lens. That's how big the interest pupil would be. And I was just like, oh my god, it all makes perfect sense. And then once you like figure that out, then you can start applying it to other things, like why does changing focal lengths affect your depth of field if your distance from the subject doesn't change? Well, it's because your entrance pupil is getting bigger, and if your entrance pupil is bigger, then you have a shallower depth of field. And the out of focus orbs, which people call like bokeh or bokeh balls, those get bigger too because your aperture is, you know, more largely perceived when you have a longer focal length. And so it all just kind of like clicked. And
I just want to add that you crazy. You crazy,
you know what I'm
man.
saying? It's like one thing connects to another, and you just kind of keep digging and digging and digging. Where I feel like a lot of people, I'm not say a lot of people, but there's people out there who they just need to know what they need to know to get the job done. And there's nothing against people like that. I mean, we need people of all desires in the world. But for me, I can never leave anything at, oh, so it just does that and that's good. Okay, let's do it. I'll be like, but why? I'm that kid that's always like, but why? And there's an endless rabbit hole of camera stuff to chase down. Passion is the short answer. Sorry for ranting on you there.
No. I think that, so like, I consider myself a very analytical person, yo. But every time I watch your videos, I'm like, I would have never thought to test that. You know what I'm saying? And I consider myself a quote unquote nerd. So to me, it's kind of like intriguing that, like, your brain, like, and I wanted that answer, you know what I'm saying? To know, like, what pushes you to keep digging deeper and deeper to get this information. Because sometimes I watch your videos like, bro, who the hell wants to know this stuff? But then once you appreciate the process behind it, and that somebody actually had to like develop an understanding from scratch and then be able to formulate that into an opinion and talk intelligently about it in a way that could be taught to other people, is wild to me. So, like, big respect for that, because it's honestly inspirational. But I do have another question for you.
Sure.
And it'll serve as, I guess, motivation for me. Also, probably for a lot of other creators in here. By the way, like, I'm not ignoring comments. I'm just really trying to, I wanted to have this conversation with Gerald. So, you know, I'm kind of focused on that. But I see all the comments, man. I appreciate each and every one of y'all that's in here. Gerald explained the interest pupils and Terry's blinking like, what is hilarious? I was like, what is he talking about, man? But no, I appreciate each and every one of y'all. Thank y'all all for the super chats. It is very much appreciated. Great to see so many great people in here, yo. So many great names in here. Thank y'all. I really appreciate each and every one of y'all. I know I say that all the time, but I'm a person who, like, every single person who's interested in what I do, I'm completely grateful for it. But Gerald, so you went from like chopping away at the block chopping away at the tree when it comes to YouTube videos, right? Like, when do you feel like the switch kind of got turned on and you went from like maybe this to that? What do you think triggered that?
Well, okay. Where do you think the switch is? Because for me, I've seen like 5 of these along the way, but maybe for you, you're thinking of a more recent one or whatever. Like, can you humor me a little bit with the question? What are you thinking?
So like, I just remember watching your videos constantly, right? But it just seems like within the last like 6 to 8 months, dude, you all over the freaking place. Like, everywhere I look is Gerald Undone. It's a video talking about Gerald Undone. It's article referencing Gerald Undone. People stealing your content. You know what I'm saying? like it just seems like you took off somewhere. And I'm interested, like, where do you think that takeoff point was? And like,
yeah,
do you have it?
That one's tough. Like, I mean,
okay.
You probably know as well as I do that there's the mystery of YouTube, you know.
I'm so sick of it, man.
And because it'd be something that would be so great if you could package it into advice. And I hope I don't come across as like non-humble here or whatever. Like, I'm not a
Nah, man, you be proud of the freaking empire you built. We gonna take that statement back. Be proud of the empire you built.
I'm really happy with where the channel is and how things are going or whatever. I guess I'm not trying to big time anybody here, because the truth is, I don't know. Honestly, like, I would like to say that the answer is as simple as this: that if you try really hard and do it long enough, that there was, you know what I'm terrible at is remembering really awesome inspirational quotes, and then I try to like paraphrase them, and they always sound terrible. But there's something that's, I remember somebody said something a long time ago, which is that like, um, as far as getting recognition, again, I would love if somebody knows this quote, if they just like clean it up in the chat. But it's something like, uh, it's based on time and recognition, that that if you do a good job, that it's not so much a matter of like being recognized, but when, that eventually people will always notice, that kind of thing. And conversely, it was the opposite of like, it's like whether you do good or bad, that eventually everybody will figure it out. And
True.
so I feel like YouTube is the like ultimate sort of torture test for that, which is that especially the way that the growth of it is, where it's like within its own realm of like, if you have 10 subscribers and you gain 10 subscribers, you've doubled your subscribers, and that's significant. But then when you have 1,000 subscribers, if you get 10 subscribers, it all of a sudden feels like nothing,
Right,
because it's
right.
taking you so long to get to 1,000.
Right.
But at the same time, YouTube also kind of grows exponentially like that, but it never feels like it's growing fast enough. So it's such a like, it's so you really have to just kind of like keep your head down and be like, I'm committing to working on this for years. That kind of like torture, you know. And I guess I was just doing that. I just kind of like had my head down and was just reviewing stuff and testing other things and making tutorials and that kind of thing. And then one day I kind of put my head up, and for me, it was actually even more recent than 6 to 8 months. I would say that it's been the last few weeks for me, where there's been some surreal stuff where the channels that I watch, I'll just try to watch videos sometimes while I'm, having a meal. And it's creepy when you say watch 4 videos in a day and all 4 of them you're in it and you didn't realize that you were. I was like, okay, what's going on here? And that's only been like the last couple weeks for me. But that was the kind of like the realization where it was like, I was just making camera stuff, and then one day I was everywhere, like you said. And I guess it's because things were turning in the background the whole time. I just wasn't paying attention to it. But if you do pay attention to it, like anybody who's ever tried to grow anything knows, it feels like nothing's doing.
Man.
So if there was advice, it would be just, yeah, you got to manage your business. You got to do what you can do to do well, build a brand, do as best you can, but don't watch it too closely. Just get on to the next video and just do it and do it. And then one day, I guess, people will notice. I don't know. What am I talking about? This isn't good advice.
No, it actually is good advice, because I think a lot of people get discouraged on YouTube, yo. Like, I've been
It's easy to
discouraged
get discouraged.
a lot
Yeah.
of times, man, and all of my fellow content creators in this joint right now, y'all know what I'm talking about, man. Where you put 20 hours into making a video and then you post it and the shit gets no love, you know what I'm saying? Like, it can be very disheartening for a lot of people. So
Okay.
the reason I asked you that question is because I try to tell people it is a grind. And even though I do get discouraged sometimes, it's all about like the light at the end of the tunnel. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't want to walk down halfway through the tunnel and then turn back around. You just got to keep going and keep pushing. And the reason I wanted to ask you that question is because, like, there's a lot of people who might think it's impossible because their growth is slower than normal, or they don't think it's possible for, little old me to actually have something successful on YouTube or whatever it is. And this is a perfect example of where if you keep your head down, you keep pushing. Forget the haters. The haters gonna talk. They're gonna say whatever they want to about you. Success will come from it as long as you stay dedicated. And this is something that, like, I'm having to have these conversations with myself on a day-to-day basis, because sometimes it is discouraging, just like anything else in life. You know what I'm saying? But I appreciate your perspective on that. So the next thing I want to do is I'm gonna take a second just to go through the chat real quick, and then
Cool.
we'll hop back to it, because there's been a ton of comments. If you want to look too, you see anything that
I
stands
saw
out?
one that I can answer right away, because I know it freaks people out sometimes.
Hold on, my
Uh,
audio just went out. I have to wait about 20 seconds for it to come back. I don't know why this keeps happening. So I can't hear you right now. They can still hear both of us, but I can't hear nothing you saying. So just I'll go first until my
Okay.
computer wants to catch back up. So I'll have the floor. And by the way, man, like I said, thank y'all all for coming through and supporting. Let me see if let's see. Learning and experimenting is such a huge part of the process. Man, if that ain't the truth. David Stella said, Terry Warfield and Gerald Undone together on a live stream. How is the universe not collapsing? Obviously, my computer is collapsing because my audio keeps flanking out. It's coming back right now, I hear. Undecided with Matt Farrell. Thanks for coming through, man. Viper, Post Gear, no Micro Four Thirds video. His Micro Four Thirds video really took off. That's when I saw him start to grow. Okay.
I still don't know why that video did so well either. I was looking at my top videos the other day because the Sony A7S III video has a lot of views now, and like I think on like my top 3 videos, I was like, I have no explanation for any of these. As to my second most viewed video right now is an old video where I took apart my monitor because it had a white spot on it, and I look like a complete maniac in that video, and it's got like 500,000 views. I have no idea why, so that's why I don't give good YouTube advice, because it's like, I don't know how it works. You make stuff and it works. Okay.
Which is crazy because like sometimes you put videos out and they seem like duds, right? But then you look up 7 months later and it's got more views than all the rest of your videos for no freaking reason. For no reason. It's almost like there's a YouTube lottery and sometimes you just hit the lottery and videos take off. But I can hear you now. So if you catch any comments, definitely spit them out. Renee Ritchie, know yourself, know your audience. 100 words. I'm sorry, 100 videos, 100 bangers. Absolutely. Let's see. Jesse Briones, CJ Knows Tech. So true. Make the content for the purpose of being satisfied, not of making money. I strongly agree with that. But there's a catch-22. And I guess this is a great thing to talk about because a lot of creators will go through the same thing when it comes to trying to grow a channel. Do I make the content that I know is going to get me the views? Or do I make content for me that may not get the views and may not get me to grow? And in my experience, you have to do a mix of both, right? Because obviously you don't want to make a video about this right here, like a freaking mouse pad. Like nobody wants to know about a freaking brown mouse pad. But maybe there's another way to maybe implement something that is being searched to talk about that mouse pad in an organic way. You know what I'm saying? So there are ways that you could do it. But what I found is that you do have to mix, like you have to find a way creatively to do the stuff you want to do while also still being mindful of the stuff. If growth is your goal, that can still help you grow. I'm just off on a tangent, just off of that question. Tony Capil gets so stressful. Creator Studio messes with your mental health. Renee Ritchie, you ain't lying. Dude, I don't even really look at my Creator Studio anymore because sometimes it is depressing. And I find like me and Sagi Tech Gear talk, a conversation we had like 2 or 3 weeks ago. He was like, yo, dude, I upload the video and I keep it pushing. I don't even look back. I don't even look back in my analytics anymore after I publish a video because I can't do anything more. If I know I made the best thumbnail I can make, the best title I can make, then what else can I do? And what's the purpose of sitting there obsessing over it if it's not doing nothing? And since I've had that conversation with him, especially, like, I don't even really look at my analytics no more. Unless the video was just like straight tanking and I think there may be something to do that I can revive it. Maybe like a title change, a thumbnail change. But other than that, like, I really don't even, it can be very, very, yeah. Somebody has a question for you. Do you think the A7S III will be comparable in terms of dynamic range and color quality to Blackmagic Pocket Cinema? I know that in theory it should be better, but how will it handle highlights, noise, etc.? That question comes from Drew Cinema.
I've tested it against that. Like I have the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema cameras and had the A7S III. And the only thing I can't speak to is the out of camera color, your personal preference for it. But I can say that the Sony is robust enough that if you wanted to change it to look like Blackmagic, you could do that. And I also quite like the quick and easy colors out of the Sony as well. So if you just wanted to shoot standard for a specific thing or do a live stream with standard, I think that they look great. They look better than they used to. So if you didn't like old Sony, but you've kind of been liking the trend, I think you'll like the new stuff. As far as, you know, the Their 10-bit 422, in my opinion, has always been rich enough to achieve whatever look you want, because I don't find that generally we're pushing things to the extreme. The only time that it's not is if you need to change your white balance in post, like you can with Blackmagic easily. But if you're within like a reasonable realm of white balance, I think that it's juicy enough to do what you need to. As far as dynamic range, it's better. The Blackmagic pocket cameras are good. They're better than most mirrorless DSLR type cameras, pretty much across the board, except for probably the Panasonic S series would be the only ones that beat them. And the Sony is like as good or better than the Panasonic S series. It's closer to like cinema camera level. So I mean, it's a better image. It's technically a better image. You know, how much you like it, that's always going to be up to you. I find that if you give somebody a technically proficient image, that they should be able to do what they want with it if they're confident with it in post. And so I have no problems with the A7S III image for that purpose, for that, I guess, those reasons. I don't know. Hopefully that's a good answer for you.
All right, so I want to tackle the next question. TTL versus manual flash debate. I'm just going to be honest. I hate TTL. I don't even use TTL.
Yeah, me
because
too.
It doesn't give you, like TTL for me is like the novice. It's basically a pop-up flash at that point, right? It's just a high-powered pop-up flash.
I mean, sometimes it works. Sometimes.
It does, but I think like once you discover how to control a flash off camera and use the light to scope and manipulate the image the way you want to, sometimes you can't depend on TTL for that. Sometimes you have to take control of your flash. So I personally, it's been years since I've used TTL on the shoot. I always go manual. I never do TTL. Shout out to my mods in the building, CJ Knows Tech, C Kid Tech. I appreciate y'all. I do have another question for you that somebody told me to ask in the chat. Me, CJ Knows Tech, and C Kid Tech, we run Call of Duty literally almost every night. Do you play video games?
I do, yeah. I guess like I haven't picked up one in a while. That's not true, actually. I kind of go through phases where I'll like go hard on YouTube for a while, and then I'll feel like I need a little bit of a break. I've actually been in my break period this last week, but nothing kind of made me want to play anything. If Cyberpunk was out right now,
man,
you best believe that's what I would have been doing this past week.
I cannot wait. Did you play Witcher 3?
Yeah, that's like, I don't know, that might be my favorite game of all time, because I replayed some of the other ones lately, and I'm not gonna say they didn't hold up, but they like some of the other games that would be in my like top 10, I was playing them earlier this year, but they just didn't have the same hold on me that they did when I first played them. But I replayed Witcher 3 like a couple years back, and I was blown away. I would say I liked it more than the first time, and so now I think if I had to pick a title today, I'd probably pick Witcher 3 as like my favorite title right now.
Yeah, I've played through Witcher 3 probably like 4 times, man. And because it's just so much in that freaking game that you miss a lot of stuff on your first or second playthrough, yo. So
for sure.
Like, I think the thing I love most about Witcher 3, and then we'll go back to Call of Duty, is the music. Like there's times where I'm not even playing the joint, right? I'm not even playing the game, but I'm sitting here working, or I'm at the gym listening to like Silver of Monsters or whatever that song is called, like literally in the gym, like raging to Witcher 3 music. So
did you ever watch that spot where they showed like some of the making of the music, and they got these like,
yes,
you know, these not old musicians, but musicians to practice like older styles to get like, you know, things that represent like closer to like medieval lutes and stuff like that to try to like simulate.
Well, my audio just went out, so I can't hear you. So why don't you take a question? Sorry, I can't hear anything you're saying. It's gonna take like 30 seconds to come back. I don't know what this is or why it keeps happening, but I'm not about to try to fix it midstream. Okay. But yeah.
So basically we both like the Witcher music. I think it's really well made. As far as other video games, I was, when I was younger and up until recently, I was huge in like Final Fantasy games. I played probably all of them. Big RPG fan, RPG fan. RGB fans, like for a computer, like RGB RPG fan. And then Metal Gear Solid was like another franchise, whatever series that I was huge into. But
it's coming back.
Yeah, I don't know. I think like as you get older, you just kind of, this is what I feel anyway, but that I don't have the same kind of like where you kind of just pick up anything and you love it right away. For some reason, I'm like more picky and I have to be more choosy about how I want to spend, because I also go super hard on games too. So if I know a game like Witcher 3, for instance, that can take you like 200 hours to complete it. So I guess I'm more picky about which titles I'm like, I'm willing to go super OCD on this game. Like I need to be like willing to do it. Where when I was a kid, I felt like I just would play anything all the time, every game, everywhere. You know, I don't know. So you a big Call of Duty fan? That's what you're saying, Terry?
So we've been playing Warzone a lot. I've actually played with a lot of people in this chat. I've played with CJ. I've played with Devin a lot. Me and Casey Neistat have ran a couple games before, but he usually on like 3 o'clock in the morning, and then I ain't about to stay up that late. Dude be up mad weird hours. Like I get probably because he on the West Coast and I'm on East Coast, but yeah, we basically run every night almost, and it's it's lightweight amazing. Like I wasn't really into like the whole squad thing, but like as you get into it and when you develop like strategies and stuff like that, man, I have a lot of fun with it. But the answer to your question is no, Gerald does not play Call of Duty, but maybe we need to get him on the sticks to show. Now I got another question for you. C70, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, that's a pretty exciting camera. My first instinct would have been to liken it to the A7S III and say that when we were talking about solving all my problems first, but the C70 I guess isn't. We are getting a bit more expensive now, still well below that $11,000 thing we were talking about before. So if I'm comparing it there, it still seems super enticing. The C300 Mark III got the title of like my favorite camera, and then I felt like the A7S III came out and it gave me a lot of what I can get for the C300 Mark III for less money, and I can take thumbnails with it. So I was like, okay, that's probably a better camera. You just gotta put some NDs on it and an XLR adapter, and you're off to the races, right? So the C70's already got the NDs and the XLR. You still need adapter cables, but it's got built-in, preamps with phantom power and stuff. Right. So it's almost as if some sort of camera god was like listening to my video and like, okay, so you want a C300, but you want a little bit smaller, a little bit cheaper.
So we're
but
gonna
you still want to keep, and then
we're gonna do that.
And so then the C70 is like that's that option. So it's super exciting. And then to even add a little bit of extra into that idea that you can put on Canon's making, or they have made, or they will release with it, whatever, that speed booster.
Yeah, it's
because
wild.
everybody wanted RF on the C300, and they were disappointed about not having RF. But obviously there's a ton, like you can change the mount to PL or EF, and there's a ton of cine lenses that are EF or PL, so that's the way to go. And there's not really a lot of RF options out there, right? So this camera has RF, which is great, so you can use your RF glass. But for everybody that's still shooting EF, now you can speed boost them down, so you're not even like, you don't even have the Super 35 complaint anymore.
It's like full frame. It's like full frame with that speed booster.
With extra light. So it seems outstanding. Now it's a video camera, so we're gonna have the same, argument of like, what kind of, like, the best part though is nobody's talking about megapixels on that one, because it's not
wow.
Nobody's
brought up. I have not seen one comment regarding megapixels when it comes to the $6,000 C70.
I
Nobody
guess it's because you can't take photos with it, but if they were to say, and you could take photos with it, then we might talk about megapixels. I don't know. But the truth is, as a video camera, which is that's the only, the R5 got a lot of slack, and I contributed to the slack because of the marketing, calling it like an 8K video workhorse or whatever.
Terrible marketing.
And if it was just, look at this photo camera, then yeah, look at this photo camera. It's excellent. So this is but I remember saying at the time, I was like, you should separate your products anyway. I think that the A7R4 and the A7S III make for an expensive but outstanding pair of cameras.
Right.
So I would argue now that the Canon R5 and the C70 make for an outstanding pair of cameras. I think that you are probably still cheaper to go with Sony, and normally the argument would be that you'd have more lenses, but then again, you have that adapter, so you got tons of lenses for Canon as well. So it's a great thing. The people who are on Canon glass and were in a situation where the A7S III was like, damn it. Because when you got too many lenses, you don't want to be like, am I just going to switch everything over to Sony now? Because that's a big job. Well, now it's probably cheaper for you to, it's definitely cheaper for you just to get a C70 than it is to convert your entire kit to an A7S III, right? So they got an option now, a good one.
So I'm actually pretty intrigued by it. I haven't ventured into the cinema camera world yet, just because I'm just gonna keep it honest. Like, YouTube ain't paying them type of checks yet for me to be buying $11,000 cameras. You know what I'm saying?
But if you're like me, even if it was, you're probably like, I ain't gonna spend no $11,000.
Yeah. That's very true. Like, if I had 11 grand right here, it would hurt me so bad to slide that money across the table for a camera. Like, somebody will have to do it for me. But like the C70, like when I started seeing the videos and stuff about it, I'm freaking intrigued by it. I'm sticking with my A7S III, obviously, but there's some things like I wish, and it seems like we're back on the Sony kick, but we'll finish talking about this. We'll field some questions and then we'll start wrapping this up. But there's some things like with the A7S III, I do wish that they like maybe would have took a page out of Panasonic's book, right? Like there's no anamorphic options in camera, which is, in my opinion, a huge miss. There's no option to put like your waveforms or vectors or none of that crap on the screen. Whereas like on a Panasonic GH5 or S1H or any other cinema camera for that matter, you can do that stuff. And I just think those are too small of misses from the A7S III. I wish that they would have put in there. But neither here nor there. Somebody
it doesn't have that like perfect video thing, because it also doesn't have shutter angle and stuff like that.
No shutter angle, right?
You know, it's not a cinema camera, and it doesn't have the like that feel that Panasonics have, where they feel like they're really video featured. But yeah, so I'm with you. But you also should call it a video camera, not a photo camera. But I don't know, you know. Anyway, I'm with you. Yeah, totally. Go ahead. Sorry.
Somebody asked, did anybody get their A7S IIIs yet? Everybody that got their joints already, except for Gerald get his Monday, but I ain't got mine yet, and I don't know when mine
funny,
coming.
Terry? Everybody's always, I'm just punching things now on the set. Everybody's always like, you know, Gerald, the #1 Sony. There was a funny one. Somebody called him the Emperor of E-mount on the last live stream, like as a flattering, funny thing. So everybody thinks I'm so rigged up with Sony, right? It's like I don't even have the A7S III yet, fam. It's like if everybody thinks you think I would be #1 on the list to get it, I don't even have the camera yet, and I bought my own. It's funny stuff. I'm just throwing that out there because it's like I'm with Terry here. We're just a couple of slobs that don't even have the camera yet. You know?
Sitting around eating cookies and shit all day. I think it's been an amazing year for cameras, man. Like probably one of the most exciting years for cameras in the last decade. We have had so many hard-hitting cameras come out this year, from the Sony A7S III all the way up to the Blackmagic 12K beast that they dropped. I don't want to hear nobody talking about I can't create because I don't have the best cam. Shut up, man. Shut up. It is any camera from the last 5 years, real talk, is good enough for content creation and overall use, period. So I don't want to hear nobody talking that. It's a lot of different options out there. All of these new cameras are making our current generations, like the A7 III, they're going to drive the prices down even further. And these cameras are still crazy capable in 2020. So I don't want to hear none of that crap, all right? So before we'll turn this final corner, again, I just wanted to thank everybody for stopping through. If you are interested in how the stream looks, all this stuff is down there in the comments. Thank you to everybody who has dropped super chats. There's been a ton of them. For anybody that wants to maybe slide in a last one at the last minute, we're going to start wrapping this show up. But super chats are still open, not available. Highly appreciated. And also, if you have not liked the stream or dropped a comment or anything, we're going to get to that part now. So I want to open up the last segment of the stream to any questions for either me or Gerald. I'm sure most of y'all, because y'all some haters, will probably be for Gerald, but whatever. There's been a lot of questions, so we'll try to grab them. But if you have questions, I know a lot of y'all dropped questions and maybe we didn't touch on them yet. Go ahead and do that now, and we'll try to pick some questions as we go. So get the questions popping.
I saw a question, Terry. I saw a question earlier that is a silly one that I can answer quite easily. Somebody asked if I was sitting or standing. I feel like I have to address this every time live because this kind of looks like I could be standing behind this desk, you
That's
know?
a good
Like I was like,
question, yo.
so it's like an illusion. And I think that's also why when I see people in person, they always go, "Oh, I thought you were a lot shorter than you are," because I think they think that I'm just like, I guess this table would be too high for a I don't know. It's weird, but it makes me look like I'm just kind of short and standing behind the desk. But this is me. I'll stand up to break the illusion for everybody. So it's there's the there's the table for you.
You know, I never thought about like, is this kid sitting or standing, man? What's going on with this? Yeah, that's a great question.
There's one
All
answered.
right, are either of you guys UFC fans? I am kinda. I'm looking forward to a few fights coming up. I can't say I'm a huge fan, but I am a UFC fan. What about you, Gerald?
No, I watched it years and years and years ago, like early when it was in single digits, and they had like Gracie's doing Brazilian style stuff up in there. But I haven't watched that stuff in decades. Just I'm not really into it.
All right. Did they fix the Sony shutter crushing? Listen, man, that is not a thing. All right. And I'm glad you asked that question. There's a lot of people with the A7 III that have said that they have malfunctioning or bad shutters, right? There's actually a group on Facebook dedicated to the A7 III shutter breaking. And I really want to put this into perspective. They have probably sold a couple 100,000 A7 IIIs at this point. And of those people, you have a very small group on Facebook of about maybe 2,000 to 3,000 people who have suffered from broken shutters a lot sooner than they should have, right? But as a whole, the amount of broken shutters versus happy customers out there with the A7 III, because remember, happy people don't go and make reviews. It's the people that have broken stuff or are dissatisfied that want the whole freaking world to know. I'm willing to bet you it's less than 1% failure rate on the A7 III. I'm just throwing that out there. All camera shutters
I think that's
break.
reasonable considering it's like the best-selling full-frame camera.
Yeah.
I feel like
Yeah,
it would be like a recall or something if it was
Right.
a notable percentage. Yeah.
And it's law averages. The more cameras you sell, obviously, there's a bad apple out of every bunch. There's going to turn up more and more of them because more of them were sold. Yeah, going back to the comments. I will find it hilarious if Camera Conspiracies got his A7 III before Gerald. I think he got an A7S III. He got a lot of cameras as of lately. I've been checking out his videos. But I think it's hilarious that everybody's going to get their camera before me. You want to talk about some shit that's funny? That's funny. What do you think the effect of Pro Photos iPhone external flash will have on the industry? I don't understand that question. Do you get that question? I'll read it again.
I guess so. Yeah, I think maybe the question's probably directed at if it's gonna step, because you know how things. I assume their concern is that the trend towards phone more than that certain market, the certain price market for where cameras are right now, and how phones are kind of eating that up. I think maybe this question about having flash potential now for iPhone, how that's going to affect the industry in general. I would assume it's based on phone versus camera. That's what I think they're probably asking about, like that whole industry debate of, you know, phones chewing up the camera market.
I think for the general public, the iPhone, I mean, the phone in your pocket is probably the best option, right? Most people are happy if they can take a dope picture. It looks decent enough to post on social. Most people are happy. But the reality is, you can't beat physics. You can come close with computational photography, but you can't beat physics. A larger sensor will always be better than a sensor that small. You know what I'm saying? Until we start to break the laws of physics. So me personally, I don't think for people who do want a camera that a phone can ever compete. I guess the argument is the best camera is the one you have in your pocket. But if I had to take my pick, I'm grabbing my camera 10 times out of 10. No question.
I suppose it does remove a barrier of entry, though. If somebody, it's one more barrier of entry down for phones to maybe absorb a bit more of the market. If there was some sort of wall there of flashes, if a bit of that wall gets taken down by a new product, then I suppose it does allow a little bit more market absorption. I'm with you on everything you said, but
yeah,
maybe that would be the only effect, is another little piece of the pie goes on the phone side of things, you know.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right, next question.
Vipe's
I'm
got a good one here. He's got
hold on.
go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go. You do yours and then I'll do mine because the question I'm about to answer, I'm about to go off in TerryWarfield fashion. How people know. So you go ahead and do yours first.
Vibe was asking if Gerald can explain chromatic aberration. The answer is yes, I can. All right, Terry, your turn.
All right.
I'll give you the super bridge version because I normally ran too long. So, you know how you got light rays coming in your camera, right? The goal when you focus something is to get all those rays to like hit a single point, and then that point's going to be super sharp. Well, because of issues, because lenses basically are like, you know, a bunch of pieces of glass, and rays got to like change direction and do all kinds of funky stuff trying to get in there. They can do the best they can, but sometimes, especially certain situations regarding a lens, those rays don't quite hit that single point kind of thing, and certain parts of the spectrum will sort of glance off and you see them just outside of your clean line. So maybe you're expecting to see a line, and if everything hit right, it would be white because all of your rays, all your colors are going to meet together and they're going to be white. But if you got a little purple action glancing off on one side, that means the green's going to glance off on the other side, and then you're going to see fringing, little purple, little green. Just means that it wasn't perfectly able to dial it in to like get everything to converge correctly. And a lot of things that can cause that, but generally it's just, you know, lenses are a man-made thing that have to deal with a series of variables and a bunch of glass and a subject that you're photographing that may be particularly challenging. And so certain colors, certain wavelengths would be the correct word, because all color is wavelengths and how we perceive it. So certain wavelengths aren't dialed in as well. That's chromatic aberration, basically.
Thanks for the explanation. That was a great explanation. All right.
Cheers.
Jesse Bari says, what's your advice for someone who really wants to make YouTube videos, but is worried what others will think or say? Oh my God, this is my favorite question. I made videos in high school, but I live in the hood and got jumped for doing something different. Listen, yo, I have made videos on this before. I preach this probably every other day on Twitter. At some point in your life, and excuse my French, you have to stop giving a shit what people think about you. It doesn't matter if you are the most perfect human walking this earth. People will not like you for whatever their reason is. And the reason may be completely stupid to everybody else, but people are entitled that opinion to not like you for whatever their reason is. My question is, do the opinions of other people help pay your bills? Do the opinions of other people help you drive forward in anything? And the answer to that question, usually 10 times out of 10, is no. So the way that you get past that barrier of like what people think or say of you is you just can't care. I mean, obviously you need to care about the opinions of people close to you, like your mom, dad, brother, sister, uncle, aunt, whatever. But the people who you don't know, the people who don't influence your life directly, you should not let those opinions take up space in your head when it comes to what you want to do in your life. So the way you get across, the way you get over that is to stop caring what people think about you, because it doesn't matter what you are, who you are, what you look like, your size, weight, color, ethnicity, whatever. There's always going to be people who don't like you. So let it go. Okay.
I like it. I like it. I like your passion there too.
All right. We'll do like maybe 5 more questions and then we'll go ahead and wrap this up. Film by Fresh. What features do you think can be added to the FX9 through firmware updates?
Can versus will. I mean, okay. So here's the thing. I mean, there's a processor that's new for Sony, and there's some things that are tied to it. So I think people have the same question as like, why doesn't the A7C have the new menus and the new other things? It's because a lot of that stuff is tied to the new processor that's in the A7S III. I assume new cameras that we're going to see that have that processor will have all the same features. Now, I don't know the specifics of how these processors work in terms of their capabilities or not. So sometimes it might be easier to say, why can't you just load all the stuff onto that or make it work? So I don't actually know the difference between can and will in this regard, I guess. Do you know what I mean? Plus Sony kind of has a reputation, whether you like it or not, except for actually with their series cameras, they do actually provide functional updates for those. But if we look at the mirrorless side of things, they tend to just make a new camera. It's like, oh,
Right.
great. So you want those extra things? We'll
Buy a new
mark it
camera.
down and we'll put in a new camera. They don't ever go back very often. Like, remember when the A6400 came out or something, and people were like, well, why don't I have that new tracking thing? Or even when the A7R4 came out and it added some IAF in video, they didn't put that back on the A7 III. So
Right.
the answer is probably there's probably a lot of things you're not going to get, but the ones that they promised early on, I think that they'll, if they haven't already launched those yet. I don't have the FX9 anymore, so I haven't updated mine, but you know, they were going to activate the touchscreen. That should definitely be expected. They were going to add the was it 4K 60 with a 1.2 times crop or something like that, I think it was. Those things I think we can definitely expect, but I don't think that you should expect it to slowly turn itself into the A7S III's I guess like that current generation of Sony stuff. I don't think that's going to be that, but maybe the FX6 will be that'll be what you see then. So all the things that you would have thought they could add to the FX9, they won't add to the FX9, they'll add it to the FX6. You know what I mean? And then you'll be like, oh, why can't I have this on my FX9? And it's like, I don't know why they don't, but you know, it's like,
Right.
what do you think, Terry? Because there's other companies that do, like Fuji or whatever, where they put features in the old cameras. Do you wish that they would keep making new cameras, or fewer cameras and go back, I guess, and upgrade the previous ones? I
I
don't know if you had.
think, and this is a gripe I have with Sony. I think that they, just from a brand loyalist perspective, they should go retro upgrade the cameras, right? If there's a new update out for the A7R4 and the A7 III is powerful enough, it has a powerful enough processor, it has the capability to accept this update and use it, to me it doesn't make sense to not offer that upgrade to an A7 III owner who 2 years ago that was your flagship camera. That was your flagship mirrorless camera, was the A7 III. So like I kind of felt slighted when you do start to see these new cameras who have eye autofocus tracking in video. It's not that the A7 III is incapable of doing it, as far as I know, but for somebody who just bought a camera that was $2,000, I think they want to be able to get those updates. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
a person who's interested in the A7 III is going to be interested in the A7 III, but that person who absolutely needs the highest megapixels, they're still going to shoot for that A7R4, whether the A7 III has it or not, because they have a specific set of demands. So to me, I think it's like a slap in the face to some people who have bought into the ecosystem a year ago, 2 years ago, for them to not get those updates and be forced into or pigeonholed into spending more money just to get those features that technically their current camera probably can do, right? Because to be realistic, Sony has essentially used the same codecs, the same processing architecture, the same sensor, same megapixel counts in the last 8 of their cameras.
Unless there's nuances that we're not aware of. That's why I said, like, I'm not 100% sure, because they do call the processor the same, but sometimes they'll say like tweaked or updated version. So
Right.
I don't know if it's really that nuanced where it's the difference between being able to do IAF or not, or if it's, you know, like they're reasonably close together, they should be able to, but maybe it's just not as financially worth it to bother rolling out updates when they could make a new camera, make money on it. I don't know what the answer is, but
I would like to see at least
with you.
like a guaranteed 2 years of updates, or you know what I'm saying?
Right.
I get it. They can't keep going back for the last 10 years upgrading every single camera. I totally get it. But just like Android and iPhone, dog, like people want guaranteed software or firmware updates. At least one or two of them. But I don't know. That's my thought process. I had another question. Sony Views is 12 megapixels enough for photography and editing and photo shoot? We kind of touched on this earlier, but I feel like there might be people who just jumped in. So in short, absolutely, but it has limitations, and you need to be aware of those limitations. Just because the A7S III or whatever camera is maybe only 10 to 12 megapixels does not mean that it can't take extremely detailed photos, that it doesn't have great color science, that it doesn't have dynamic range. Really, the only two downfalls to less megapixels are the inability to crop in or around the frame. So you need to be obviously more careful with how you take a photo. And possibly blowing stuff up to ginormous sizes. But then contrary to that, most billboards are like 2 megapixels because the viewing distance is so great you can't make out pixels anyways. So there are people who do have the needs of a higher megapixel camera, and for those landscape photographers or architectural photographers, then that may pose a deal-breaking limitation. But for most people, no, 12 megapixels is more than enough, especially when 90% of people are just snapping away to post on social. So, plus you got to remember, 12 megapixels does have advantages. Smaller file sizes, bigger photo sites, pixels that allow you to absorb more light and squeeze more dynamic range out of the camera. So, in a nutshell, you just got to determine what your needs are. All right? 2 more questions. I'll let you pick the last 2 if there's still more 2 in here.
I stopped looking. Did you see ones that we skipped? Somebody said, does the camera meter off of eye autofocus? You can set the metering mode to like 5 different ones, I think. One of them is spot, and then you can have the spot follow the focus point. But I don't think that it, like, when you use like an algorithm type thing, like face or eye, I don't think that counts. So you'd have to use multimeter with face priority, and then it meters to the whole face. But if you used follow spot, then you would have to physically put the spot on the eye to get it to meter that way.
I think what he's talking about is like the ZV-1 has a mode where it meters based off of face detection.
Yeah.
So
that's what I mean. They have that, but they don't, like, if we're talking about when like the little box shows up on the eye, I don't think it's that specific. I think it's evaluative of the face as a whole, you know?
All right. Let's get one more question and then we'll start wrapping this up. Okay, well, the last question is, where are we from? So I will jump on that. I am in Cleveland, Ohio. Nothing exciting going on here, but a bunch of losing ass sports teams and people robbing each other. So like, nothing exciting going on here. Gerald, where are you from?
I'm like directly north across the lake from Terry. I'm in London, Ontario, which is like halfway between Detroit and Toronto. But yeah, if you just go from Cleveland, pretty much, you just cross Lake Erie, then you'll get to my place.
All right. I put Gerald's social media information on here. If you're still in this chat, yo, both of our Instagrams and Twitter are on the bottom corner of the screen. Go. I don't like calling people followers. That's just not me. I don't like saying like, go follow me. Like, yo, you see the tags down there. Add both of us on Instagram, social. Before we hop off of here, man, I just wanted to again thank everybody for coming through, kicking it with us. I appreciate everybody with the super chats, man. Totally appreciate that. A lot of great faces, a lot of great people in here. Gerald, I especially wanted to send a big thank you to you for coming on tonight, man. You're a hard man to get a hold of. Fortunately, it wasn't too difficult for me to get a hold of you, but I definitely appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to come hang out with your boy, man. And that's really all I got. So unless you got anything you would like to say,
just thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. My pleasure. I think it was fun. I appreciate you, making it work short term and stuff too. Appreciate it. It was a lot of fun. Thanks.
Yeah, man. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and start wrapping this up. We're going on about I think an hour and a half now. I really gotta fix these audio issues I'm having. It's really pissing me off. But yeah, again, thank y'all for all coming through. I really appreciate each and every one of y'all. The next stream will likely be, I was going to do like the weekly stream, but I think like taking a few weeks off before the next stream is always a way to kind of keep things fresh, at least for me. So we will be streaming again soon. There will be another special guest on the next stream. He is already lined up. Y'all will have to obviously wait to get the news on who the next person will be. But make sure y'all check out my guy Gerald Undone, and that's all I got, man. So we about to wrap this up. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night. As always, peace and chicken grease. I'm out. TerryWarfield. Have a great night, y'all. Peace.